Hi, I'm Jim Smith. This is the 1000. We're back with Dennis Young. Going forward, we have to contemplate what's happening next. In the short term, the medium term, and the long term, what do you think the issues are for particularly the firearms community, but also the, I guess, civil rights community in Canada? Is this kind of a broad issue?
Well, on the short term, I believe that we have to get Stephen Harper elected again. Otherwise, I think the Liberals are going to take us back to at least full implementation of Bill C-68 and the Firearms Act. And because it wasn't repealed as the Conservatives promised completely, all of those mechanisms that are in the Firearms Act are still available to ban every firearm in Canada if they really wanted to, based on the opinion of the Governor-General, and the Governor-General is basically just the minister and authorized by cabinet. So, as Dave Tomlinson pointed out years ago, he said, the opinion of the Governor-General can't be overturned, okay? It's very important that we get Harper elected and that we continue to push for the complete repeal of the Firearms Act. And that's on the short term. On the medium term, I believe that it's going to be very difficult to try and get the Firearms Act repealed. It's been in there for 20 years, and it's not an easy thing to do to just turn the clock back to the way things were in 1994. But I believe that the first thing that has to happen on the medium term, and I think it's possible, is to have a blanket amnesty. There was a blanket amnesty for all gun owners in 1972 and I believe in 1991, where anybody who had a firearm could get it registered or comply with the law, could turn guns in, or could re-register their guns that had been handed down to them by their dad or their grandfather. And now that we've got millions of gun owners that didn't comply with the licensing, we've got hundreds of thousands of handguns that have never been re-registered under the new law. And even Gary Breitkreitz was pushing for this back in 2002. But I think we need a blanket amnesty to allow all the gun owners in Canada to find out how many there are, and to allow those people to get involved in the fight, in the lobbying for our rights and freedoms. And that's on the medium term. On the long term, I think that we have to find a process by which evidence-based gun research will dictate whether, in fact, a gun law remains valid or not. So if a gun law isn't working, it should be repealed. And I think if we have a system by where the real evidence, like Gary Mauser's work on firearms, Kaylin Langham's work, the doctors' work on firearms, where they all say that the gun laws that passed since 1976 have done nothing to reduce the number of homicides, that gun owners are 3 times less likely, licensed gun owners are 3 times less likely to commit a murder than the average citizen. I think this evidence has to dictate how our gun laws will be either remain in effect or repealed. And I think that's on the long term. We have to really take that approach. We can't allow bogus research, like the research that the NDP and the Liberals trot around all the time, to dictate how our rights and freedoms are going to be affected in the future.
And that's research, by the way, that we often can't get access to. They do these research projects and they pass them to their supporters and their people that do the talking heads. But we, people who haven't seen it, I know that during the Allen Rock period, there was one on Canadian traditional firearms ownership. And we've never been able to get a copy of that. And I'm kind of interested as a sociologist by education about what this actually says, because the demographic truth is exactly what you said. As our population ages, those old gray guys get involved, the violent crime has gone down, which I predicted in a speech in 1978. It wasn't exactly a news bulletin to me. And I'm shocked that it keeps coming up, but I'm also shocked by the fact how few people actually know our issue goes back 40, 50, 60 years, and that's kind of what we're trying to do. Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I used to send out emails to hundreds of people every day, and the CRTC has made a law saying that I might be subject to spamming regulations, and so or anti-spamming regulations. So I've started my own website, and I'm having fun putting a lot of my old research back up on that website so that people can access it, and putting all the new research up there. So I would, if anybody, all you do is enter your email into my email update, and every time I do an update, you get an email from me. So.
Great, and I have subscribed to that email for quite some time, still do now. It is an essential source, keeping an eye on what's going on. So sign up, go to the website. I hope you'll support everybody. Dennis and I both are doing this as volunteers, and we're having a lot of fun doing it, so let's keep it up the good work. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Jim.
You bet. Well, that's today's little talk. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you'll subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, and if you can support us, if you can see your way clear to support our project, to support our history, please feel free to do so. We exist totally on your support.